Good to be here. Nice to meet everybody. I'm Ilya Vayser. I'm with RTB House and here to introduce Carole.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carole Diarra, and I lead the global marketing team at UGG. I've been there for about 3 years and really focused on transforming our iconic boot into an iconic brand.
Which, by the way, I did almost wear on stage today, but I don't think I could pull it off quite like Post Malone can. But I know you oversee a lot of things on the brand side. Can you give us a little bit more detail on like exactly what do you oversee? What do you do for UGG?
Mhm.
Kind of like the day to day and the full year picture.
Okay, sure. So I have full scope over all of the marketing activity. I'm really responsible for driving the brand heat, the cultural relevance. So I have product marketing, integrated marketing. I have all of our brand communications team, which is really responsible for driving community and culture, social. As well as our digital media innovation teams, as well as all of creative and marketing operations and retail brand expression. So it's a full scope purview over all of the things that the consumer sees about the UGG brand.
Yeah. So for some of us, we have 24 hours in a day, but it looks like Carole has at least double that. Nice. Can you tell us like what brought you into this role? How did you end up at UGG?
Yeah, so I spent most of my career at L'Oreal, so about 15 years. I was with L'Oreal in their marketing organization through various different roles before I became the CMO of a company called Arbonne out in California. And then during the pandemic, I got a call about UGG, and I was really excited, even though I hadn't done anything really in the retail or fashion footwear space. I had been lover of the brand since I was young in the 2000s when I had my first pair of UGG boots, and they kind of lasted forever. And I really started to see the changes that the team was making in the product, and the product just really looked interesting. They were starting to do more things around sustainability, and I thought, oh, it could be really exciting to just take something that's a nostalgic brand and really make it hot again and make it relevant and grow it globally and really just try to uplift it. So I was really excited about taking that love that I had for the brand, all that nostalgia, and just bringing it to more people and really making the brand just have so much salience.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're overseeing a lot. There's that real strong feeling of nostalgia. Was there something maybe at the top of your list or something that you wanted to prioritize when you came over to UGG?
Yeah, when I first got there, the organization was definitely more focused on the product and the design and how do we, uplift the product and show that we have a different offering beyond our classic boot. The majority of the sales are, typically done on our classic boot. And for me, it was, well, how do we think about this more holistically as a brand? And how do we think about making, the product, which is so powerful, how do we think about making that relevant in more ways so that the brand itself had more legs to it? So the first part was really instilling kind of a clarity about who our consumer really is and who we wanted to speak to. I feel like, especially in the US, a lot of people had a very clear image of like the UGG brand and like what it means. It's very cozy, it's very comfortable. But we were starting to see in the data um, through especially during the pandemic was we were seeing this interest in styling UGG in a really different way. We had these slippers that did really well during the pandemic. They were called fluffies. People started to buy them on TikTok in a lot of different colors, and they kind of really took off. And they were new consumers coming into the brand through a totally different product and a totally different lens about the brand. So that gave us an opportunity to say, well, how could we take that nugget of kind of hope and fashion and extend that to more of an image for the brand overall? And so that allowed us to really focus on a different consumer that's more immersed in trends and fashion and culture and really wants to stand out and look different and really nurture that consumer group. And as Carrie mentioned, that consumer really spans all ages. It's really not a demographic. it's really a psychographic, it's a mindset, it's a mentality of a consumer that wants to be immersed in the next thing and they really want to stand out. So by focusing our energy on that consumer, we're really able to take the brand in a different place. It allowed us to take collaborations in a different place. It allowed us to redo our store, our e-commerce offering, and just really, show up in our marketing efforts in a totally different way. And I feel like that was a big part of how I wanted to reimagine the brand for the future through the lens of consumers that were a little bit more on the tip of the spear, taking the brand forward. And from there, we just changed many different elements of the brand. We created kind of our signature brand campaign, which is called Feels Like UGG. And it's about feeling good on the inside and outside. And we really portray this idea of being in community, feeling yourself, feeling your best, really expressing your creative side as a way to feel good. And then, of course, we have the signature comfort, which is about the physical feel. So it all really just works very well together. And it's helped us to really kind of get the brand on a new trajectory.
Yeah, you talk a lot about how the brand has like this community feel, and like, can you tell us a little more? So on the community side of things, have you grown that community? How do you foster them? Like, how do they interact with the brand and stay involved? And you guys stay involved with your customers?
Mm-hmm. There's two key ways that we really nurture community, I feel. So the first one is through, we kind of created this momentum, which we call UGG season. It's hashtag UGG season. And so this really came from the community about 5 years ago. People started to really go onto social media and they would say, oh, it's time to put your winter boots on. It's time to be UGG season. And so we started to see out in the zeitgeist that people would start to hashtag us. And, we really wanted to own that moment. And so we had a talent in the market. Her name is Cardi B. And a few years ago, she had done a post saying, okay, everybody, it's UGG season. You need to get your boots out and go, light it up for like UGG season. And that was really cool. We didn't partner with her or pay her for that at all. But when we wanted to relaunch UGG season ourselves and really own that moment, we decided to bring Cardi B back into our fold. We partnered with her in a really authentic way. And this really galvanized our community even more to really think like, oh, okay, how can they show off their best fits for UGG season? So now UGG season is really evolved into this galvanizing force for our community to show off the best way to style their new pair of UGG boots, shoes, whatever. We have a number of different products now that have really taken off and are really being seen in the zeitgeist of the community. And so even last year, we had this huge swell of momentum of our fans basically going on to the internet, creating their own videos saying, get your UGG boots this year before they sell out. And that created a whole groundswell. We do a lot to nurture our community. We're always gifting. Then we respond to every single comment. So any comment about UGG that's out there in the world, we have our community management team that's responding to them. We often do surprise and delights for our community. So if we had one year, I think it was last year, there was a student who played basketball, and he always wore his Tasman slippers to the basketball game. But when he got there, he forgot his sneakers. So he had to play his basketball game in the Tasman UGG slippers, and it totally went viral, and everybody was talking about it. He got his little moment of fame. So we gifted him and his whole team with the latest pair of UGG Tasmans, and so that also then had a big moment. And so now in a lot of basketball games that you'll go to, you see a lot of kids kind of around the country wearing these Tasman slippers and their pajama pants. It's almost like a little uniform. And so there's different ways that we engage our community. So that's one of them. We also do a little bit more with experiences and helping to nurture our community through what we call Feel House.
Going back to before we even get into Feel House, I mean, it's not even, I don't want to use the word lucky, but you guys definitely take advantage of the opportunities. So like with Post Malone, for example, I know he was on stage wearing UGGs for almost a full year, and now he's part of this big campaign with UGG. How did that end up coming about?
Exactly. We try to do everything through authentic partnerships, and we pay attention to what's happening out there in the world. And so, because our brand is so loved, a lot of people come to us organically and they want to work with us. Or, with Post Malone, he came to our team and he really loves camouflage. Like, that's one of his key things. And so, he asked if we could make him a pair of camouflage UGG boots. And so our team made a custom pair for him, a one of a pair kind of camouflage boots. And then he just fell in love with them. He basically rocked them everywhere. He came to the Super Bowl in them. He was on stage with them. And so when we thought about our partnership for men's this year, we were like, oh, we should work with Post Malone. He's such a big fan of the brand. So that kind of initiated our conversation with him and all the different ways that we could work with him. So we started to partner with him. He was a creative partner in a new campaign that we developed with him. He was relaunching his kind of new genre into country music. So we did this campaign around a weatherized boot where it was like a country western, and he was in with his horse, and to kind of make his horse go over the water. But it was kind of funny. So that's one of the creative things that we did with him. And then we also did Feel House with him, which was a community experience in which we curated. It's Feel House it's part experiential, it's part retail. We have one usually every year. This year we had it in LA, and it was curated by Post Malone. So he basically came up with kind of the concept of it, and we were able to create his same custom camo boots for all of the attendees that came for BIP night. He had an intimate a cappella performance. He interacted with fans. He just got to spend the evening with him. So it was a really special evening that we were able to do in partnership with him.
Nice. Can you actually tell us a little bit more about Feel House?
Yeah.
That's how it came about. What did it result in? How did you guys end up amplifying it through like your social spaces? Anything you could share about Feel House?
Yeah, this is our third year of Feel House. Feel House was really developed, like I said, to be the best expression of our brand, to bring people into our world, to show them everything that we're, trying to do with the brand. We have a special curated offering of products that are more fashion forward products. We have all of our collaborations, like our past collaborations that we've done with other brands on display at Feel House. We invite a curated kind of audience of VIPs. It's about 10 days of programming. So we also have, we had Throwing Fits podcast who was there. They did a whole series with Reese Cooper on like his partnership with UGG. So we do different things at the Feel House. We've had them in Paris. We've had two in Korea, one in Chengdu, China, one in London. And they're really designed to bring our community together, to have a fun night, to curate different experiences for our community. And just people want to feel connected. People want to feel engaged. They want to feel like they know a brand on a different level. And so it's hard when you just have like your retail store, your e-commerce, So I think this idea of creating of immersive spaces, everybody's talking about third spaces now. So I think just trying to figure out how you can connect authentically with your community and nurture that is really important. And so it gets amplified through a number of different ways. Obviously, if you have a big talent like Post Malone and he posts about it, then it's going to get amplified. We had a lot of media coverage. We had press there from around the world, from all of our different markets. We brought influencers from different markets there who all posted and helped to contribute to the story.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds amazing. What about from like a channel standpoint? How do you put together a mix around that to go out and even amplify that further?
Yeah, specifically for Feel House or just in general, I would say as we think about channels that are important to us, I think they mentioned it earlier, like omni-channel really means where are you delivering the best experiences for your consumers? Because we know that they do shop across the ecosphere, but they also consume information and media and insight, and they discover in one channel, they shop in another. So for us, it's about making sure like each experience is curated for what is necessary. So even with things like, these experiences. So we had Feel House, that was something that was an independent experience. But then we also simultaneously had partnerships with Nordstrom. We had a corner shop right here for about 8 weeks with Nordstrom, where we also invited our community into the Nordstrom corner shop. We had a Selfridges takeover in which we invited our community into Selfridges, where we had a huge takeover of our winter lifestyle product for Selfridges. So we try to think about all the different ways that we can engage our community. We take that core idea of creating powerful experiences and we will spread that across multiple channels and then try to amplify it through social so that more people can be a part of it.
Nice. You've also mentioned, we've talked about it before, but you're really building like a purpose-driven brand. What are some things you're doing to really make it feel like that for, I guess, you guys at UGG and also the community?
Yeah, so one of the key things that when we talk about purpose, it's just like we define our purpose as helping to make self expression really comfortable for all. So, the various ways in which we invite our community into doing that, we showcase, a really inclusive community. We feel like that all lathers up to creating, purpose. And then when we think about specific initiatives related to sustainability or the environment, we're really big into thinking about the long-term ways we can make impact. So we have a big program around regenerative leather, and we have committed to converting over 1 million farms into regenerative farms throughout Australia and New Zealand, where we source some of our suede material so that we can help to foster that long-term supply chain. And so we've been doing that. We're kind of early ahead of target. We've almost completed the 1 million acres of regenerative farmland, and we've been able to launch 5 collections now with regenerative materials from those farmlands. So it's been really exciting to see that impact long term showing up now in some of our products.
Yeah, I mean, I think I used the term lucky before, but it's pretty clear you guys create the opportunity, and even the influencers like Cardi B, Post Malone, they recognize something in the brand or they have a special connection with the brand that makes them kind of seek you guys out before you even seek them. I guess tell us so the other part of Fieldhouse that you mentioned is it's not only a U.S. thing. I know U.S. is a major market, but like in 2024, you guys have seen some major growth globally as well. Can you tell us what's been amplifying the brand globally?
Yeah, I think one big focus also coming here was to really make sure that we were amplifying our international voice and we were really showing up as a global brand. And what we've really been doing is just driving so much energy and brand heat for the brand in our key markets. So if we think about in Europe, one of the key things that we really did early on is to work with a lot of the fashion designers to have more curated experiences on the runway. So we're usually a part of the Paris Fashion Week, Milan Fashion Week, London Fashion Week, and we work with emerging designers, and we are usually always there in some type of what we call a quick strike, which is a collaboration that can be done for a one-of-a-kind design on the runway. So since we've been doing this program and we've been working with young designers, we've just seen a lot of momentum from creatives in the space who really want to work with our products, and they really see basically is a blank canvas for creativity. Like they love the quality of the materials, they love the quality of the product, and then they use that to reimagine kind of their creative taste along with our kind of quality of materials. And I think in Europe specifically, that's been driving so much of our brand love and our brand heat. Also working with, like I said, the field houses and the other influencers that we've been doing to style the product so that they can see all the ways to style the product. And it's really kind of gone from this idea of like walking the dog to like being on the runway and really creating a moment and a curated fit out of the product. And then I would say in Asia, what's really been influential is the retail experience. So we opened a new flagship in Shanghai a few years ago in the Shenzhen region. and it's been incredibly successful. It really is like a community based flagship. We're on the top floor. We have social selling, we have community activations every week, we have curations of customization, we have jewelry designers come in, and we really have kind of a groundswell of the young creatives in China coming into our store and helping to curate these powerful experiences. We do a lot of artist collaborations where we have artist takeovers of the stores, and so that's been driving a lot of heat and momentum. We took over, we do a lot of experiential as well, where we take over kind of districts and areas within Shanghai, and just being a part of that artist scene, I think has really been helping drive a lot of our momentum and being seen more as a creative outlet and a supporter of young creatives.
Yeah. So it's really almost like the product leading the creative a lot of times. Product bringing in some kind of social amplification, and then that kind of distributes or works on how your marketing actually distributes that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of the product and then also combining that product with these experiences. Yeah, so like the social combining with the experiences and the customization. I think those things working together really help to create a way to see the brand that's different.
Yeah. How do you, I guess, change those experiences in retail versus e-commerce versus maybe some like locations where they're going to like a Bloomingdale's or something like that?
Yeah, so some of them I just mentioned, right? So the partnership that we did with Nordstrom at their corner shop was just a really, a beautiful way to uplift the product and to reimagine it and bring in some of those creators. So we had people from our campaigns that were in our last Feels Like a campaign, like Precious Lee, who attended the event and really brought her community of people that love her into the space. So I think just always trying to do things very authentically. Talent is a big part of our mix. And so, really, just trying to ensure that the partners and the people that you work with are very authentic to the brand. They have a genuine love for the brand, they have a genuine care for the brand. And then that allows their fans and the people that really respect them to also come in and see the brand through a different lens. So I would say combining talent, but also just thinking about our retail partnerships in really dynamic ways.
Nice. And tell me a little bit about the audience. So, I mean, so many different generations and types of people shop at UGG. How do you maybe change things up or communicate with each one of these groups?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I feel like it's exciting to have a brand that's really beloved by so many different types of people that all have their like love for the brand in some way, and then to see new generations, like I said, these younger generations of kids also embracing the brand. But I think for us, like I said, it's focused on those psychographic profiles. So we really look at these creators, like the creator communities that want to be on the pulse of things. They want to kind of lead and be different. We think about them first. Second are people that want to have more of an impact in the world. They really care about comfort as well as style, but they also want to make sure that you're doing kind of the right thing. And then a little bit more of our loyalist audience. They want to be trend right. They want to make sure that, like the brand is hot. Those three groups of people are kind of across all ages. And so making sure like you just communicate with the right talent, the right partnerships, the right in-store experiences. We do have a pretty robust loyalty offering where we curate different products and different messages to different groups of people. But I think balancing all of that together with those consumers that you want to represent the brand. And what we found is that we haven't had any issues with continuing the love for, consumers that don't fall in those groups, right? So the people that maybe have known the brand through a different lens and a different generation, they've just come along with the ride for us, even if we haven't necessarily curated our marketing efforts towards them.
So really, age is really just a number.
Age is just a number. Yeah.
Completely different. I like that. Okay. Well, I got the 5-minute mark, so I only have time for maybe one or two more. But
okay.
You've been with UGG for 3 years now. What's been some of your proudest moments or moment that you could think back to?
Yeah, I think one of my proudest moments was definitely the Cardi B partnership because it just went so viral so quickly. And there was such a turning of the heads like, okay, Cardi B is announcing UGG season and definitively making it, the thing for all ages, and it was embraced in China and Japan and just everybody around the world was like UGG season. We were like, oh my gosh, we did this. Like we helped, it worked. And so that was really exciting when we kicked off that partnership, and it's continued today. It's almost like it's in the vernacular of, like the crossword puzzle in the New York Times, like UGG season. So we're like, okay, we made it. So that's been really fun.
Awesome. And then I guess, what are you looking forward to most in 2025 and beyond?
Yeah, I think one of the big things that we're focused on now is how do we show up for men. And so we started very much as a brand that spoke to men. We kind of started with these surfer roots and then over time shifted more towards this Hollywood image on the slopes, cold weather. And so now for us, it's like, okay, like how do we get men to really feel like we're hot, that we're relevant, like we're a key part of his wardrobe, not just for like, slouching around and lounging around with his slippers, but more for like that curated fit. And so we're seeing so much success with all the NBA players. They just rock us all the time through the tunnel fits. And so how do we continue that momentum with having guys really think like, okay, like that's for me.
I mean, I definitely need some Uggs to match this outfit, I think. All right. Well, thank you. I think we can open up to some questions. Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Thank you, Carole. And thank you for blessing my daughter when she was just a little thing. I remember the first Christmas she got Uggs. Oh my gosh, Santa was amazing to her. And now I fast forward that 14 years later, and yesterday I'm shopping in Stamford, Connecticut, and she had her Taz's on with her little outfit. And then I'm like, oh yeah, Dad, they're getting into this, and this. And I'm like, I just watched that. So loyalty, I heard you talk about loyalty being incredibly important. So I'd love to hear some of your strategies around that. But you have to be the favorite aunt, mom, gift giver in your entire family.
That's accurate. People are always coming to me like, okay, what do you got? We need this, this, and that. Yes. Yeah, what we're in the process right now is like what we're talking about is like reimagining loyalty for our best consumers and not thinking about it so much through a loyalty program. As a product, we're not like we're not like a high volume retailer, right? So it's really thinking like we have amazing products that people love, but is it through like a points and rewards system that's going to excite like our consumers? We're not sure. So we're really thinking about, well, how do we treat our best customers in the best way? And so a lot of things, like I said, that we've been doing have been related to offering unique experiences, exclusive drops at different times, while before things get sold out, allowing them to access the products earlier. And that seems to be getting a lot of traction. And so we're right now thinking about, okay, how do we scale more of like the best ways to treat your best consumers versus, what's a loyalty program as we've traditionally thought of them.
Hi, Carole. Sarah Crockett from DSW. Thank you for the great partnership. And I just have a question about your products. One of the things that people love about them is how durable they are. You don't necessarily need to repurchase them every 3 months. How do you think about retention with such a durable product? And how are you thinking about getting your customers to consider more from UGG?
Yeah, I think that was one of our key strategies, like I said, going to consumers that are more on a fashion cycle. And when you think about consumers that really want a more curated fit, they want the product for that season, and they want that product that's really allowing them to look unique and different and of the moment. So one of the key ways that we've been driving up a lot more frequency in purchase is just been focusing on those consumers that want to purchase more frequently. So even if they have, our products from a previous season, they really want what's relevant right now. So that's been one of the key things, is really driving that fashion, that curated fit, that something of the moment that is going to be relevant this season, not just, okay, it's a great comfortable shoe, you can get it, it lasts forever. It will last a long time, but for certain people, they want what's hot right now. And then the second thing is really just thinking about the breadth of our offering, right? Like, we have so many more options now than traditional boots. So we have more versatility. We have, our low mel sneaker, which has been working really, really well, which gives you a whole other use occasion and another time of year in which you can wear the product. So it's not so reliant on cold weather in winter. The same with our Golden Star sandals, which we saw just have a huge uptake last spring. There's all these product offerings which allow you to dimensionalize the offering so that people can kind of continue that love for the brand in more moments in their wardrobe and their life. And then the third aspect is, yes, we have diversified kind of outside of just footwear. So we have many different items. So we have outerwear, we have loungewear, we have accessories. We partner with a lot of other brands on collabs for accessories. So Telfar was probably one of our biggest collabs, and it was like a Telfar bag, but with that signature UGG material, which was super successful. So that gives, another opportunity to diversify out of a one product every 5 years kind of scenario.
Great. Thank you. We're going to have squeeze in one more question. Just before, as you get the mic and you're asking questions, please introduce yourself. Show who you're with. And have Mary real quick.
Great. Hi, Mary Beth Sheridan. Thanks, Carole and Carrie, beforehand about discussing the balance of a brand's heritage and authenticity with how to move the brand and the product forward with innovation. One question for you, because you protect the D2C relationship with the consumer through your stores and your website, but another sort of complex part of UGG is the wholesale partnership. And you've got DSW here, you've got Bloomingdale's, you've got Journeys, you've got all sorts of points of distribution. So what does your working relationship and partnership look like with those really varied brands and strategies within those brands to ensure that the UGG brand is protected, at all costs?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, because we do have so many wonderful partners, so many different points of distribution, which allows so many consumers to access the brand. So we feel like that's what's the most powerful piece of that, and really being thoughtful about each of our partners and who are the consumers that are engaging with our brand through those channels. And foremost is a real love and respect for the brand in terms of the partnership. And so really trying to ensure that we are very clear about what we want to say with the brand, at the same time respecting kind of the partner's way to go to market, right? And so that's what's really powerful, is in what way does the partner want to attract consumers to our brand, engage with our brand, but we are ultimately responsible for what the brand says, what the brand stands for, how the brand looks. So I feel like that's really the balance that we've been trying to find. And it is one that we have to, always think about, but it's really just a partnership, right? And so in any partnership, there's give and take, and there's finding common ground. So I would say it's no different.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next panel, but we have one last question. I got a request for you to identify the boots that you're wearing right now.
These are the classic dipper. And so what we have right now is there's a cutoff version of these, which are kind of this season's version of these. These are from last season. But this season, we have, it's called the mini classic dipper, which are kind of hot right now. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.